I often think about how different my life might have been if a few people had not stepped in to help my family when we needed it most. I grew up in Saint Lucia in a home where, at any given time, there were 7 to 9 children under one roof. My mom had 7 children of her own, and she also raised two of her sister's children. That meant there were a lot of people to feed, and like many families, we faced financial pressure and uncertainty about how certain needs would be met. But one thing I remember very clearly is the generosity of others. Our mom worked several jobs just to make ends meet. Family members helped, especially my Aunt Pamela, who supported our food, education, and development. She even made sure we experienced vacations within St. Lucia and in Martinique as well. Our community helped too. We could go to neighborhood shops for basic necessities with the understanding that our mom would pay when she could. There were government programs that supported families like ours, and there were organizations whose mission was to help children in situations like mine. UNIK for education did not exist when I was growing up, but there were organizations with similar missions that supported families like mine. Seeing the work UNIK is doing today reminds me of those efforts, and I'm grateful to support a mission that continues to create opportunities for children in St. Lucia. Because of the support of family, community members, and programs that believed in children like us, I was able to go to school, go to university, and eventually build a career in corporate America. My journey took me from Louisiana, where I attended university, to Texas, where I worked in public accounting, and eventually to California, where I spent about 10 years building a stable, comfortable life. But California is also where my life changed. In 2020, I gave birth to my daughter just before the COVID shutdown. What should have been one of the happiest seasons of my life quickly became one of the most difficult. My daughter was admitted to the NICU with breathing difficulties, and shortly after that, I was readmitted to the hospital with severe postpartum eclampsia. And unfortunately, things didn't get easier. Our home environment became very difficult. And eventually, my daughter and I left that situation. We moved to New York, where I had family and support, and I went through a divorce. I found myself starting over as a single mom. I had gone from a comfortable life and being a stay at home mom to facing a future with no salary, no clear plan, and no idea what life would look like for us. But one thing I knew for certain was that I needed to make decisions that would protect us. And the path I chose was entrepreneurship. I had already started planning my accounting business while I was at home with my daughter in California. But after everything changed, that business became more important than ever. I had a choice. I could return to corporate and accept a salary that overlooked my experience because of gaps in my career. Something many women face when they step away from work to care for a child or a loved one. Or I could bet on myself and build something that would allow me to support my daughter while creating the flexibility we needed. Did I feel ready? No. Did I know what the next steps would be? No. But I made the decision that I would figure it out step by step. Not perfectly, not quickly, but consistently. And that decision reshaped everything. Along the way, I learned a few important lessons. First, entrepreneurship is not easy. It requires grit, resilience, and believing in something, even when others don't always understand your vision. Second, your dreams matter. Whether things are going well or poorly, keep your dreams alive. For many years, I supported my husband's dreams because his dreams were our dreams. But along the way, I learned that my dreams matter too. Passing the CPA exam was one of those dreams I'm grateful I didn't give up on. Achieving that goal gave me the confidence to start my own practice. And third, community matters. None of this should be done alone. Raising a child should not be done alone. Building a business should not be done alone. As a single mom, I rely heavily on family, friends, and community, and that support has meant everything. When I think back to where my story began, that household in St. Lucia with 7 to 9 children under one roof, I realized just how much community mattered. There were people, many of whom we may never meet, who believed that children like us deserved opportunity. They supported programs, they provided school supplies, they made it possible for children like me to stay in school and keep dreaming. And because of those acts of generosity, that little girl from that household in St. Lucia was able to go to university, build a career, become a mother, start a business, and share her story today. So when organizations like UNIK for Education raise funds to support children in St. Lucia, it is about so much more than pencils, notebooks, and book bags. What you are really giving a child is possibility. You are giving them the chance to imagine a future that might feel impossible today. And maybe one day, years from now, one of those children will stand on a stage somewhere and say, I grew up in St. Lucia, in a home where things were not always easy, but someone believed in me. And that belief changed everything. Because I was once a child who grew up in a household just like the ones this organization supports.